Rockland County at 91.9 on the FM dial and around the world on the web, jmandtheam.org. Rabbi Findel has been in Sderot for how many years now, Rabbi?
Almost 20.
Almost 20 years, and you have the distinction and the honor of serving as Rosh HaYeshiva of the yeshiva here in Sderot. I love what one of your students said earlier, that a lot of cities have a yeshiva. You, as the yeshiva, have a city around you. The entire place, and you've pointed this out to me every time I'm here, the entire place, no matter what their background may be, no matter what type of homes they may come from, they all know where the yeshiva is in Sderot.
And now it's even more. Now it's an army near the Yeshivat Hesder. We had about thousands of soldiers throughout the past 3 weeks. First of all, I'd like to extend the mazel tov to Simon Jacob and Dr. Joe Rosenstock and to you for all the help. It's a big inyan. That's what we need. Sifrei Torah, Simcha of Torah, V'ata kitvu lachem et hashira hazot. That's what our town needs.
Could you tell us something about the Ethiopian community here? Is it large? Is it been here a long time? What could you tell us about them?
The rabbi of the community, Rabbi Alon, happens to be the name of the mayor of the community. And both of them have in common that they were in our Yeshivat Hesder, and we're proud of that tremendous connection. The Ethiopian community is not very large, but there's a lot of youth that are... my daughter is now leaving to be a Komenarit of the Ethiopian community. We see them as real potential Balei Tshuva and great citizens.
Phenomenal. And I hope I'll recognize some of the songs at Achnasa Sefer Torah.
We'll start a lot of them.
You think so? Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with the different minhagim of the Ethiopian Jewish community. You mentioned about the army being here. The yeshiva played and continues to play, but especially in the height of this war, played a very important role just in giving basic necessities to the soldiers. What would they have done without you?
The truth is, the army doesn't need the Yeshivat Hesder Sderot, but they needed our spirit, and that was something very unique and very special. So many bonds, so many connections. A soldier just called me up last night, and he said, I don't know how he got my number. He just wanted to tell me the special relationship that was for that. The whole, it's a group of officers, and we're talking about hundreds of future officers and present officers. They're exposed to a yeshiva environment. They're exposed to what Hesder is all about. They're exposed to a special spirit and unity. People from Tel Aviv, one soldier asked me, he said, wait, you guys foresaw all this? Because I told them that 9 years ago, our yeshiva was also packed with uninvited guests. We had thousands of people here, then also many hundreds, over 1,000, uninvited, showered, slept all over the grass and in the dorms. Then it was a little different. We were also looking at maps, trying to figure out exactly how to get into the Gaza Strip. But it was really a demonstration then against the hideous crime of the senseless evacuation from the Gaza Strip. And so one guy said to me from Tel Aviv, a secular person, he said, you guys foresaw this? So I said, not exactly, even though many did. No. We just saw a video of a rabbi being dragged out of his house saying, you're dragging us now out of our homes, you're going to see it's going to fall on Ashkelon, and you're going to feel sorry. But I personally didn't foresee it like that. We just knew it's a mistake. This land is a land that we have so much to do, so much learning, so many Chidushei Torah that we didn't yet discover, so many medicines that weren't yet, so much high tech, so much building, and so much giving, and so much learning. And our neighbors, they don't know what to do with it. A little out of breath. We keep in shape from running from Qassam rockets. But that's not why we came to Sderot, not to dodge Qassam rockets. We came here with a real mission of bringing Torah to a development town. Development town doesn't have to always be developing. It could be developed, and I think you guys saw a little bit, and I'd like to invite all of your listeners to come see Sderot. It's not what you picture. Sderot, not what you thought. It's not the pictures that you see in the Gaza Strip. It's a lot of building, a lot of growth, a lot of learning. It became a capital of Torah and Zionism. It became a capital of young couples that we found great housing here. There's a place between the two yeshivot there. It's called Sderot HaTorah. When they order cement, they say, bring it over to Sderot HaTorah. Our neighbors, they know how to live underground. I think came time to divide the land. You live here a lot of years, you have to compromise. They could take the bottom, and we'll take the top, because they don't know what to do. It's like taking fish and putting him out of water. The Arabs don't know how to develop this beautiful land. We do. And you can see it. We're building a beautiful Moskowitz park. 50, 60 dunam. We think it's going to be a state-of-the-art park, nicer than a lot of the parks in America, with real beautiful equipment. We're building a visitor center, two gigantic, Baruch Hashem, we're accepting now another 2.5 weeks. Even though you see the building, it's not finished. In another 2.5 weeks, the bottom floor will be ready to accept almost 120 first-year guys. And that means that they voted for us. Right. And they said that even though people think it's not safe, the parents said, we want Sderot.
Rabbi Dov Findel is with us. He's actually our host today here at JM and the AM in Sderot.
It's our honor.
I appreciate that. You basically answered my next question, but just to reiterate, it's amazing the relationship that this city and Yeshiva specifically, mostly because of you and people like Yossi Baumel, have with the American Jewish community. I was going to ask you what projects you're working on right now that would be of interest to our listeners, but you just mentioned the park is being built. More construction is going up in terms of yeshiva buildings and dormitories, right?
The major project, and this is something I think I can feel comfortable to tell your listeners, is the learning of Torah, the voice of Torah.
That's it.
It's something it's much less popular. Everybody loves to build parks, and we raised a lot of money for parks, and it's easy. And everybody loves to build, but what we need is we have hundreds of guys, and they end up getting married here and living here, and that's real kiruv and real kiddush Hashem. And these people, a lot of them are Sfaradim, so the people, the residents see them as their children, grandchildren, and it created a tremendous impact on the school system, on the shuls. When the former mayor, he was a great guy, the former mayor,
right.
And he was very supportive of us. But a month before the elections, he got frightened because the new mayor was someone from our community.
And very popular.
And he thought, so he decided to make a campaign against me personally and the new mayor, signs having pictures of us saying, these guys are going to turn Sderot into another Bnei Brak, another Beit Shemesh. And the mayor told me, the new mayor, he said he went from house to house, and people said, these guys, we know them from the shuls, we know them from the schools, we know them from, they're our neighbors, they're great guys. And he won by a landslide.
Right.
And the mayor even reversed his campaign to be with us 2 weeks before, but didn't help.
That's Mayor Alon Davidi, and I know you have regards from him to us. He was not able to be here today. He's out of town, so to speak, but he's doing very well, right? He has proven to be, as we suspected during the campaign, a real leader in this city.
100%. And he gives a lot of credit to his years as being a director of the yeshiva. He says he learned there how to galvanize and how to excite the world, to make Sderot into something they thought they'd start up with a little hick town. They didn't realize that world Jewry will unite around this town and make it into a special capital and center that it is.
Amazing. Rabbi Findel, continued success. What you're doing here is unbelievable. A lot of members of the American Jewish community are very proud because they're very involved with what's going on here in Sderot, and we wish you Hatzlacha Rabbah. And the spirit that you give us and the amazing optimism you give us, I hope it continues to spread throughout the entire land of Israel.
Amen. And we have a lot of thanks to the American community. The type of giving is something unique. It's something people have to write about, the generosity. And we couldn't have done what we did here without you guys over there.
They love this town for some reason.
We appreciate that. We love them also. And it's a special schut and a special partnership. We can't do this alone.
Tadar Rabbah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. A peaceful Shabbos Nachamu, as we say. JM and the AM, Rabbi Sharvat and Rabbi Siegel are joining us now as we talk about the significance of this major event that's going to be happening as we conclude our show. Once we conclude the show, we're literally going to go to the Ethiopian synagogue here in Sderot and start the big celebration. Simon, we're under an hour away. Finally, after all this time, we're under an hour away from going to the synagogue and starting the big celebration. I cannot wait to get there and to talk and to experience this day that we have spoken about for so long. Rabbi Sharbat is the rabbi of the Sephardic congregation and Congregation Avos Achim Jacob and David in West Orange, New Jersey. I've had the pleasure of being there, Rabbi Sharvat. First of all, welcome back to JM and the AM.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
This was a little bit of a surprise for you because at this time last week, you didn't know you'd be in Sderot Erev Shabbos Nachamu.
No, I did not at all know I was going to be here. When the talks began, I guess a month ago, Joe encouraged me to come, and I told him, I can't. I'm actually moving, or I did move on Wednesday, and he encouraged me, Rabbi Zwickler encouraged me to come, and I left literally in the middle of the move while the movers were packing the truck to go to my new home. I walked out and
I'm sure your family's very happy about that.
and people are wondering where am I going to sleep when I come back home. But I need to thank my wife, first of all, Batya, for allowing me to come here, and for Joe and Rabbi Zulker making it happen for me to come. It's really an unbelievable simcha for the Jacob, Rosazada, and Siegel families. A simcha for West Orange community,
No
especially
question
the
about that.
Sephardic West Orange community.
No question.
We're so lucky to have two unbelievable people who could get things done. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and now I'm happy to experience it here in Sderot.
And now I'm an eyewitness to it. I can tell you it's an amazing feeling having people who want to get things done and do it. Your thoughts. You know that this Sefer Torah is being dedicated to the memory of three special people. We keep mentioning it's a Sephardic Torah in an Ethiopian synagogue. Your thoughts as all this is going on today.
It's such a show of unity, a sign of unity. We think about the Ashkenazi community and we think about the Sephardic community. Then you have the communities that are not mentioned that much, and the Ethiopian Jews who are here in Israel sometimes feel left out. And it's beautiful to see that the Sephardim and Ashkenazim could come together and help the rest of Am Yisrael, where the Ethiopian Jews feel like, we are being taken care of. And it's beautiful to see that they're going to have a Sefer Torah, a Sephardic Sefer Torah, and I'm very excited to dance with them soon.
100%. It's going to be a nice celebration, that's for sure. Rabbi Sharbat will report back to the West Orange Sephardic Minyan next Shabbat, I'm sure, right?
Definitely. Report more than just what I've seen so far in Sderot, but to report yesterday, Dr. Joe and Simon, we went to go visit one of the soldiers' family, to be Menachem Avel, and really just a show of unity for all of Eretz Yisrael, that
This
they're
was
not
the
alone.
Golden family,
The
right?
Golden family, right.
And I say that because so many people knew who he was just from
Right.
the circumstances of his death.
Right.
And you were there yesterday,
We were there
and you spent
yesterday.
some time in the northern part of Israel.
We did. We spent some time in the northern part of Israel, and hopefully on Sunday, the central part of Israel. And really, we're trying to get to different parts of Eretz Yisrael and to show our support that the Jews in America have not forgotten them. And even when there was a ceasefire, we're still not forgetting them. As we know so too often that, unfortunately, things don't just end peacefully. And although we hope and we pray that they do, as we've just heard an hour ago, a red alert here in
Right.
Sderot.
Remember way back when that ceasefire was on? Remember those days when they had the ceasefire? Rabbi Sharbat, I thank you. And now I introduce Rabbi Chaim Nassan Nate Siegel. We've had the honor and privilege of doing many things together. Before I would turn to people like Simon and Dr. Joe, I would turn to Rabbi Nate because he always seemed to have a connection to get things done. He's also one of those people, and he is here today to celebrate with us. As I mentioned, our father is among the people. And by the way, Rabbi Siegel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Nachum.
This is something that Simon insisted on. This was something that when we together put together this project, and it all fell into our laps like this, Simon said, in addition to whoever we're going to memorialize with this beautiful Sefer Torah, we want Rabbi Zev Siegel to be part of it. So I'm glad you're here today to express our appreciation.
I have to admit, I didn't even know until this morning that was happening. And I have to thank you very, very, very much. And I just want to tell you an interesting thing that people say to me, what are you doing? You're going there now. And my brother was here 2 weeks ago, right? And you were stuck in the airport all day trying to get home. But I remember as a kid, when my mother, she'll live and be well, once said to me, she said, I think Daddy's going to go to Israel in the next week or so. So I said, why? She says, because there's trouble there. So I said, what do you mean? He goes, he always goes when there's trouble. And I see that his children have followed that. And to have his name on a Sefer Torah in Sderot in an Ethiopian synagogue, my father loved every Jew. That was one thing I could say. He loved every Jew, and to see that his name is going to be here in an Ethiopian community is something very, very special for our family. And there are no words to thank you for what you have done, and we appreciate it greatly.
It is amazing, and I was thinking of the significance because you know how he felt about expansion in the land of Israel.
Oh, yes.
And you talk about Sderot and the building and just the kibbutz Goliot, the Ethiopian community being here. Obviously, it's something that happened during his lifetime, but it was a very recent development as Jewish history goes. Put all of that together, he must have a great appreciation for an event like this.
You know, I want to tell you something. I once took a group of teenagers across the country, and when I came back, I was telling them about the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone Park and Old Faithful and everything. I would say, he would say, yeah, we have that in Israel. We have that in Israel. We have that in Israel. So I said, okay, you have everything. He says, yeah, but you have to remember that. He says, you have to remember that Israel has everything, and that's your home. I'll never forget when he said that to me.
Amazing, amazing, great message. Like we always say, you can go skiing in the Hermon, and the same day go down to Eilat and enjoy 100-degree weather. Israel has everything, that's for sure.
Now, Nachum, I have to just say, I was a little surprised by something. When that red alert came, you didn't even bend down. The whole place is lying on the floor, and there you are. You're the biggest target in the room.
Well, everyone seemed to think that I'm responsible for protecting everybody else. I figured if I stay here, everyone can hide behind me.
Just don't let mommy listen to those few minutes, okay?
I'll tell you, it's very interesting. Thank God Iron Dome exists, and thank God the real Iron Dome
That's right.
is
That's
watching over the people of Israel, because God is very good to us, and Baruch Hashem, the majority of the time, thank
And that
God.
Sefer Torah is adding more security to this wonderful city.
Exactly. I thank you very, very much, and it's great to celebrate this occasion with you
And
here,
we're spending Shabbos together. What great
which is
feel
pretty
that?
amazing as well. And ironically, our other brother who lives in Yerushalayim is in the United States this week. Go explain that. I guess he heard we were coming. That's what happened. He heard we were coming, and that's how it developed. JM and the AM, I have been given a word, and I really am happy to share this with Joe and Simon and everybody, that Rabbi Yudin is going to discuss this occasion today during his presentation on Parshas Va'eschanan. He has been made aware of what's happening here today, this unique day in JM history, where we are participating in this hard to believe set of circumstances of how this all came together and culminates today with this big celebration in the Ethiopian synagogue. And Rabbi Yudin is going to include it in his words and in a very special way this morning here at JM. I do want to remind everybody that our weekly update, which normally is heard around this time with Malcolm Hoenlein, is going to be presented next week. Because of the special circumstances today, we are going to postpone our next edition of the weekly update until next week. So you'll catch that about 7:40 in the morning next week right here at JM and AM on Friday. I also want to remind you that the Ateret Kohanim One Israel Fund, together they are sponsoring the Unity Concert with Gad Elbaz and Eighth Day, 11 p.m. tomorrow night at the Master Gymnasium on Mall Road in Barryville, New York. As we always say, we want as much of an attendance as possible, for any event that's considered a unity event at this time. So please make sure to be there tomorrow night, enjoy the music, and come out for Israel. And before we go to Rabbi Yudin, we're rejoined by Simon and Dr. Joe. And Joe, you wanted to say something?
Please, just, I meant to say this before. First of all, I want to say that all our family, David Ben Yosef Cohen, who's my father, your father,
Rav Zev Ben Rabbi Yosef
Rav Zev
Halevi,
Ben Yosef Halevi, and
Noach Ben Yitzchak.
Ben Yitzchak, the neshama should have an aliyah. Bezat Hashem, go higher and higher and higher. And, I want to say that, it's coincidence, whatever, Nisim and Ifah, whatever you want to call it, that, Baruch Hashem, we were able to give the Sefer Torah to Sderot. I have to tell you, about 20 years ago, we came from Iran, as you know, in 1988, and right after that, my father came to Israel, and he loved Baba Sali, and when he was alive, actually, he used to go see Baba Sali, which is right, Baruch Hashem, about 5 minutes away, right by Netivot, by Sderot. And he always used to tell me that when he used to, at the beginning, it used to take him about 7 to 8 hours to get here, because he had to go take a bus from the Markas here. There was no bus, there's nothing here going through to Sderot or Netivot. And he always told me that it takes me so long, but I really have to go to Netivot because he felt something. So it's all min hashmayim that, I was thinking about it, that, I'm giving a Sefer Torah in Sderot, where he probably passed so many times to get to Netivot and to get a bracha from the Baba Sali, and then after, to go to him over there. It means so much to me. And my father, really loved Am Yisrael. He really, really cared about all the Jews from all different type of the world. And, we escaped just so we could have the freedom, we could learn, and we could have a Torah, we could write a Torah, we could do whatever we need to do with the Torah. So it means a lot to me, and Baruch Hashem that it's joined by two great people, your father and Simon's father-in-law, which I knew also, and I'm amazed, and Baruch Hashem, it's amazing, and I really thank you for giving us that opportunity to be able to do this.
Well, I appreciate that, Simon.
You have one more minute?
Sure.
Okay. So I wanted to mention that Joe Rosazada is the gabbai in our minyan. And every week, for the past few weeks, he's been going through and doing hashkabah, which is like a kel maleh, for all of the soldiers who passed away since the beginning of this whole thing with Gaza over the last few weeks. And also he's been doing a mishaberach for all of the soldiers who are hurt. And that list gets very long. And people in America, and I'm taking this opportunity to speak to people in America, they kind of disconnect from that list. It's like one of the things that Joe mentioned last week was, we've got to remember behind every name is a person. Well, one of the things I realized, and I spoke about it last week, was when I'm listening to that list, I suddenly heard my name. And I suddenly heard my father's name. And I suddenly heard one of the other people in the community's names. And all of a sudden, all the names started to come out. And I realized that those names are not the names of disconnected people in Eretz Yisrael. Those names are our names. They're us. We're not there to support and know that somebody's behind that name. They're in front of us. They're standing there for us. And that's such an important thing. This is not about Sderot. This is not, this whole war that's going on is not about Sderot. It's not even about Israel. It's about Jews. And we're all Jews. And if we believe it's about Israel and we're disconnected in America and everything's going to be great, we're crazy. To be honest, they're our front line of defense and they're standing in front for us. So we really, really need to remember that, to pay kavod to them. We tried to do that when we went to the Goldens yesterday. We met with the twin brother. We saw the twin brother there. We got a chance to talk to him. But Baruch Hashem, we have an opportunity, but we also have to have super hakarat tov for every one of the people who's putting their life on the line for us. Not for them, for us.
As we were going from the north to the Golden family yesterday, I couldn't stop thinking about the things that I was reading to them, like the miracles that Hashem does for Klal Israel. There's so much stuff that's going on that people don't even think about or know about. It's like unbelievable. I'm sure people know that there was a rocket that was going to hit Tel Aviv, and I'm not sure if you heard the story that there was they did the Iron Dome and it failed, and the second one it failed, and then they sent emergency system to the place. I'm not sure if you heard this, and then all of a sudden there was a big wind that came and took the rocket and put it into the sea. And the guy that was sitting behind the Iron Dome, he recalled, he says, there is a God. There is a God. It's unbelievable. It's not just us. There's Iron Dome is going there. And there's many, many stories about that. And there's so much stuff going on.
It's amazing. And by the way, Simon, you talk about hakarat tov and expressing it. Yesterday when we went ahead and thanked every soldier, you know what they say to us? They say thank you. And I'm wondering, why would the soldiers be thanking us?
They come up to us and they say, thank you so much for giving us hizuk. And we look at them and go, giving you hizuk? Are you kidding? That's exactly what we're here. We're getting hizuk, so much hizuk from them. So, Baruch Hashem.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And now a special moment because, as I said, Rabbi Yudin's going to include this big celebration in his words. This time each and every Friday, every Erev Shabbos, Rabbi Benjamin Yudin, spiritual leader of Congregation Shomrei Torah in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, to address the entire listening audience concerning the Torah portion of the week. Good morning, Rabbi Yudin.
Good morning, Nachum. Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. Tomorrow we have the privilege of reading Parshas Va'eschanan. It is also this week, Shabbos Nachamu. Now, I say this every year, that the very Parsha itself of Va'eschanan, with its 12 mitzvos, 8 positive and 4 prohibitions, the Parsha itself gives us nechama. The Parsha itself gives us consolation. How so? Look at the mitzvos you have in this week's parsha. Aside from the repetition of the 10 Commandments, you have the mitzvah of Shema Yisrael, literally Achdus Hashem, the oneness of God. The mitzvah of the Yohavto Es Hashem Elokecha, the mitzvah to love God. And remember, we say the Yohavto Es Hashem Elokecha morning and night, after we've already recited the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem, Ohev Amo Yisrael, that God loves us. God loves us, and therefore we can return this love towards Him. You have the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. You have the mitzvah of Tefillin Shel Yad, the mitzvah of Tefillin Shel Rosh. You have the mitzvah of Mezuzah. Now, before I continue, I want to say, Nachum, that it's always hard to leave Eretz Yisrael. I got in from Eretz Yisrael this morning. I'm doing the program towards Thursday evening in America, so you can play it, please God, from Sderot tomorrow morning. This was so difficult to leave, as you will see yourself. I'm so proud of where you are in Sderot. I'm so proud of what you're doing. A Achnasas Sefer Torah to an Ethiopian synagogue in Sderot. I want to give a Yasher Koach to the partners that you have in this effort, Dr. Rosetta and Mr. Simon Jacob of West Orange, and to say that just as I've been telling everybody of the incredible feeling of Achdus that we've had over the last month in Eretz Yisrael, it continues by the Sefer Torah being literally dedicated in memory of Dr. Rosetta's father, a Kohen, Nachum's father, Rabbi Zev Siegel, Zichrono Livracha, a Levi, and Simon Jacob's father-in-law, a Yisrael, Kohen Levi Yisrael, but the unity of the Jewish people of bringing the Sefer Torah to an Ethiopian synagogue. We are all literally envious of this mitzvah and participate in the simcha with you and the rest of Klal Yisrael. This Shabbos, as we know, is called Shabbos Nachamu, based upon the opening words of the Haftorah, whereby the Navi Yeshaya promises us, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, that there will be consolation coming to our people. This Shabbos is not only, like I say every year, showing the resiliency of Klal Yisrael, that we were just a few days ago, this past Tuesday, Monday night and Tuesday morning, sitting on the ground, crying literally for that which we are lacking, and now all of a sudden our capacity to be in a state of simcha. How do you explain this? So the theme of what I'd like to share with everybody this morning, I believe, is such a powerful one, and that is that what we've experienced these last month, beginning with, unfortunately, the kidnapping, and then, unfortunately, the war in Gaza, which we pray is over. The idea is that this has all been a chevle leda. This has been pains of childbirth. And when the mommy is going through these pains, we feel her pain, and we are, unfortunately, suffering with her. But we say to the mommy, please God, the end is good. There's going to be a healthy child. There's going to be, please God, generations. There's going to be good that comes out of it. And that is the very important lesson that emerges from, first of all, the Parsha, and second of all, from the whole concept of our approach to life. Let's start with the Parsha itself. So Moshe, right after the Aseres Hadibros are given to us in chapter 5 of Parshas V'eschanan, so immediately thereafter, Moshe says, take a look. It's a Dvorim Ha'ele, this is Chamishi. Diber Hashem el kol kahalchem bahar. God spoke all this to the entire nation, mitoch ha'esh, literally from the fire, Helanan ve'arafel, from the cloud, and the especially thick crowd, kol gadol v'lo yasov. Now watch this. What do we have? And the people said in Pasuk 21, Hein haranu Hashem Elokeinu Elokeinu es kvodo ves godlo. God has revealed and showed his greatness, and we've heard his voice from the fire. Now watch this. The people say, Lama namus. Why should we die? Kisochlenu ha'esh hagdolah hazos. When we will be consumed by this great fire. Now ask yourself the following question. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving the Torah to Klal Yisrael. Would you not have imagined that he would have given them, let's say, an assembly? Now, whether or not they have theater seats, etc., okay? But the bottom line is they're in a relaxed environment, and now that they're in this relaxed environment, they have, the capacity to accept and to listen very clearly to each of the 10 commandments. No, just the opposite. The Torah tells us here in this week's parsha and at the end of Parshas Yisro that after the first 2 commandments they come running to Moshe and they say to Moshe, Daber ato imanu v'nishma'a. We've got to hear it from you. V'al yedaber imanu elokim, and let God not give us any more pen nomus, lest we die. They were so frightened, as we find in this week's parsha again. Im yosfim anachnu lishmo es kol Hashem Elokeinu od v'masnu. If we hear any more from God himself, we're going to die. Now I ask you a question, why? Why does Hashem have to give the Torah in such a frightened environment? And the answer is very clearly that from the mar, from this quote bitter experience, from this frightening experience, literally from the mar yotzam matok comes the sweetness. Not simply the sweetness of Torah, but one could get the impression that what happened at Sinai, very simply, man has to eat, and man has to sleep, and man needs a job, and man needs to exercise. Man needs to do all different things in his life, and also he needs Torah. No, the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah in an environment where literally their lives were in danger, and they realized it, and they realized that in this kind of a very serious matzav, in this kind of a very serious circumstance, this is how he is giving us the Torah. That in of itself taught us that very important lesson, that very important message, how meaningful is Torah. That if necessary and when necessary, the Jew is prepared to give everything, including, as we have in this week's parsha, b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha, literally not just your resources, but b'chol nafshecha, even prepared to give your life. Now this is such a basic concept, and this is what we have to understand coming from this week's parsha, coming from Shabbos Nachamu, and this is how we are to look upon that which happened over this last few weeks. In Hebrew it's called the Kippat Barzel, the Iron Dome. Now let's talk about this for a moment. There's no question about it. People will say, look how the Iron Dome protected us. But go one step beyond. The Iron Dome intercepts the rockets. And then what? The rockets are broken into pieces. And where do they fall? Well, hopefully very often in completely isolated areas, as we've mentioned. But very, very often it fell literally between the houses. The people saw Nisim v'Niflaos, and that's so very important. The Nisim v'Niflaos is not coming anymore from the Iron Dome. It's coming from the fact that it's falling between the houses. This is God himself communicating with everybody, with the people. Now this is an idea which the Chassam Sofer points out in his drushos. This is an idea which is found in the Avudraham, in his commentary on the Haggadah, that we say every year at the Pesach Seder. It wasn't just one people on the night of the Pesach Seder, meaning Mitzrayim, that wanted unfortunately to annihilate us, but rather b'chol dor v'dor, in every generation, there are those that want to destroy us. Now, the next word is not Elah, but, says the Avudraham. It's not but HaKadosh Baruch Hu Matzilenu Meyadam, but rather it's one continuum, meaning that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings about, listen carefully now, the potential danger only to save us, to have a direct communication with us, and to remind us of the incredible relationship that we have with Him. And so literally what comes out of these past few weeks is that which we find in number 1, and please bring to the table tonight on Leil Shabbos, bring the Navi Yirmiyahu, and turn to chapter 30, and turn to Pasuk 7, and read the second half of the verse where the Navi says, Ve'es Tzara Hili Yaakov. Literally, it is a challenging, difficult time for Jacob, for the Jewish people. Umimena, and from it, Yivosheya, and from it will be saved. So the literal understanding of the verse is that there's a potential problem, but don't worry, you'll be saved from the danger. But our rabbis tell us on a much deeper level, what's happening is, no, umimena, that from it itself, through the tzara, yivosheya, through the tzara, through the challenging times, will come the Yeshua. And this indeed is what our rabbis tell us, is that famous Gemara in Psachim 50a, whereby the Gemara says you should know that this world is not like the world to come. Olam hazeh, in this world, al besuros tovos, literally for good news, we have a bracha. Baruch, with God's name, hatov ha'meitiv. The God is the good one, who literally extends goodness. But on psuros ro'os lo aleinu, when we hear, unfortunately, bad news, we say the bracha of Baruch Dayan Ho'emes. Le'olam haba, which is, blessed is the one who is the true judge, and for us, unfortunately, it looks and it is bad at the moment. Le'olam haba, in the future, Kulo Hatov Ha'meitiv. In the future, there's only one bracha that we're going to make, and the Tzlach says that, what does it mean? It means that on the tsaros, we're going to be on that level that we're going to realize that from the tsara itself, we're going to say the bracha of Hatov Ha'meitiv. Now this is literally, once again, what you have in the Navi Yeshaya. And you can bring him to the table. If you bring a Tanakh, Yeshaya comes before Yirmiyah. In the Navi Yeshaya, the first verse of chapter 12. And what does the Navi say? V'yomarta bayomahu. You're going to say on that day, Odcha Hashem, literally, I give thanks to you, God, ki onafta bi. There's only one way to translate the words onafta bi, and that is for your being angry with me. Wait a minute. The idea is we're going to realize that once again, from that which appears to be bad, I recognize that the good comes therefrom. And this is such a powerful idea. And this is why we are so full of simcha this Shabbos, because of the fact that we recognize that we've been living through challenging times. But these are times that are bringing us closer to our ultimate geula, to our ultimate redemption. I want to close with a reminder that this Monday is a special day on our calendar. It is Tu B'Av, the 15th day of the month of Av. The Gemara teaches us at the end of Ta'anis 30b at the bottom, spilling over to 31a. The Gemara teaches us of the different things that occurred on Tu B'Av. I don't have time to go through them. They are interesting, exciting. I'm just going to share with you one. And that is, listen carefully, the Gemara tells us that Yom Shepasku Milichros Eitzim L'Maracha. Literally, it's the day, the 15th of Av, that they stopped cutting down trees for the fire on the Mizbeach. Rashi explains that the wood that was used for the Mizbeach had to be especially dry. So the wood that was cut before the 15th of Av, while the heat of the summer is still on, the sun has the capacity to completely dry the wood, and therefore there would be no worms in the wood, making it fit for the Mizbeach. From the 15th of Av on, it's starting to get a little bit cooler. The sun is not as strong, and therefore, lest there be worms in the wood, we no longer cut the wood, and now that we've completed this mitzvah, it's a of wood for the Mizbeach, it's a happy day. That is pshat in the words. Yom shepasku milichros. This is what the words mean. The day that they stop cutting eitzim, a tree lemaracha. Now, I'm going to suggest an additional understanding of these words which is appropriate for this year. This is not pshat, it's a remez, it's a drash that I'm suggesting. Again, I told you what the literal translation is, but now listen to this. Ma'aracha in modern Hebrew as well means the battlefront. Eitzim is not only trees, but as we find in Parsha Shoftim, Ki Adam Eitz Hasadeh, that man is compared to the tree of the field. And therefore, we're being told, we're celebrating in addition on this coming Monday to make this all the more alive for us today. We celebrate, please God, Yom Shapasku, a day that, please God, they stopped dying, milichros, cutting down the eitzim, these young, very special trees, these young, special men, l'maracha, who gave their lives for Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, and to give us all the opportunity to be able to develop our very special land in an environment of shalom. It really is a Shabbos of Nechama, and I pray with all that in the schus of all this incredible coming together, that this, please God, continues in the schus of the many mitzvos which have been generated from these last few weeks, and to conclude with the mitzvah that's going on this morning in Sderot, the very special Achnasa Sefer Torah. All this should bring us another strong step closer, please God, to our ultimate Yeshua. Shabbat Shalom to all.
JM and the AM live from Sderot, and I thank Rabbi Yudin for acknowledging today's amazing event that's happening in Sderot minutes from now. In fact, Yossi Baumel just confirmed with me that we're going to be, after this pre-recorded JM and the AM, we're going to be heading to the Ethiopian synagogue together, our entire group. You've met a lot of our group today here at JM and the AM. I do want to acknowledge Daniel Crane of Yamin Moshe, who journeyed with us from Yerushalayim to Sderot today as well. And I think we've mentioned everybody who is part of our group. We mentioned Dina earlier, who's here for the big family celebration. And I thank everybody who journeyed with us. It was a fun ride to Sderot and a wonderful stay so far. Yossi Baumel, we welcome you back to JM and the AM.
This is getting to be a bad habit, Nachum.
No, I like it. It's
Yeah.
a good habit.
Yes, I know. We should have a show on prime time, something together.
Hey, this is prime time. All right, so here we go. Everybody in the United States, you heard what I said to Rabbi Fendel? The American Jewish community has this affinity towards Sderot. I mean, there are a lot of great towns that get wonderful support from the United States, but there's something special, wouldn't you say, about our community in New York and New Jersey and the folks here in Sderot?
There's no question, and I think you were wrong in giving me any credit whatsoever to the maybe the last couple of years.
I thought I'd toss you in.
But the truth is that when the rockets first started falling here, the fact that there was an American Rosh Yeshiva here in the eye of the storm really brought out the fact of what people are going through. And Rabbi Fendel tells stories to everybody. He took people around before. He told them about how a rocket fell near his office.
Right, I remember that story.
So he tells how he remembers the sugi. It was American Ketuvot. He remembers which sugi was in the middle, and the rocket falls right outside. And he runs outside. What he didn't tell them is that he yelled out, "Emergency! Emergency! Bring a camera!" And they took a picture of him cowering down next to the flaming Qassam rocket, and that picture went all over the world.
I remember that picture.
And that really was the beginning of the PR about Sderot. I mean, the fact that a president like Obama came here before, and he mentions it so many times, Sderot, right, that he's been here. That all started with Rabbi Findel being here, and I know so few people. A lot of us have come in Aliyah, a lot of us are doing great things in Israel, but I know so few people who came from the New York area, who learned in yeshivot and came to Israel, and then in the end wanted to go to a place like Sderot, where if you want to talk English, you have to call up your wife to talk to her on the phone. Basically, I found a few people here, but really, it's a different culture, and he's so well loved. We saw the sign when we visited Beit Midrash on the door from the soldiers. We are thanking him, and he told a little about it. He's just an unbelievable thing that he was here at this time, and he was able to galvanize public support and interest in Sderot, and that's really, I just came on to be his assistant. That really, he did all the work. I know one other person like that, my chavrusa from Yeshivat Halacha, Rav Yitzchak Elephant, who's the chief rabbi of Dimona, who went to live in Dimona. They're so few and far between for us. It's easy to live in, in Efrat, in German colony. That's almost like, it's better, of course, because of Eretz Yisrael, but it's easy. There are a lot of Americans to come here and make a difference in a place like this is just unbelievable and unparalleled. And that's why it gives me so much strength to work for a guy like that.
It's pretty amazing that the entire effort that's being made here, and we said this point earlier, one of the young people who was with us, the yeshiva usually is in the city. In this case, the city, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah, but
with all
still,
due respect to the
it
yeshiva.
is something when even people of varied backgrounds, are attracted to the yeshiva and know about it.
I discovered that many times when I first started working here. When I said I'm from the yeshiva, and they say, no, you mean from our yeshiva.
Right.
People who are not religious at all, our yeshiva. That's how they look upon it. You have to understand, when boys who are going to serve in the army come from all over the country to live in Sderot, and the people here see those boys coming from all over, they think to themselves, they're not alone. These guys are going to fight for us in the future. They're coming here now to be with us, to help us, to learn Torah with us. So it's just an unbelievable thing that strengthens the community when they see these outsiders come in. And when American Jews come to visit the yeshiva, and we walk through the streets, and they see that American Jews come to identify with Sderot, that just blows them away. We had so many, we talked about this already.
How do people make arrangements for these trips? We've been talking about it now. We spoke about it Erev Tisha B'Av, which was just a few days ago, on Monday. We were together Monday, and today we're here Erev Shabbos Nachamu.
So I could tell you, just an example. Since we spoke last, there are 3 groups coming on Sunday. Rabbi Brzezinski just emailed me that they're coming, and I told him come a little in the afternoon because we have 2 groups in the morning. We have some other group, Ken Abramowitz, is coming to give a lecture on the fall of Western society here in Sderot to the people.
I'm familiar with Ken's topics.
I heard. I went to see him. He's great. And we have also Rabbi Barry Gelman from Houston, Texas, coming with a few members from his shul on Sunday morning as well. So this is just, this Shabbat is going to be my first Shabbat off in a month or so, because I was either here in Sderot in America, and Baruch Hashem, I'm staying with my mother-in-law. We're going to stay with her in Yerushalayim.
And the phone number for people to arrange these tours?
In any case, so all you have to do is call 718-673-4945. That's 718-673-4945. I just want to clarify to everyone that this number reaches me wherever I am in the world, and this time, by the time you hear this, I'll be relaxed and I'll be able to take your calls instead of answering the phone while I'm driving out of Jersey City, which I always get when I leave the JMDM studios. So this time I'll be a little more calmer and I'll be able to take care of you. 718-673-4945, or you can go to our website, sderot.org, SDEROT.org, and press on the American flag for English. And you'll get all the information about how to order a tour and about the great work that we're doing here in Sderot.
Do you remember how key the West Orange and Livingston communities were for the Sderot dinner this past year?
Oh, there's no question. This whole thing is like, somebody mentioned about how the Jewish world is so small. So when you agreed that when you told me that maybe you have a lead to a Sefer Torah, I had been in Joe's house for Shabbat just a few weeks before that, and I didn't know who you were talking about altogether, and then I got to meet Simon as well. I
hope you met Rabin. I hope. Did he meet Dr. Rabin?
I was in his house for Shabbat. Do you think I didn't meet Mama? I didn't meet Mama and Rabin?
Everybody. Baruch Hashem. Just checking. But cousin Moshe he still has to meet. Yossi, I thank you. It's been an amazing day so far. It's only going to get better for us because we're going to celebrate together at the Ethiopian synagogue within minutes. Mazal Tov. And go ahead. A couple of points.
Yeah, just a couple of things. People always ask me what they can do. And, I want you to think back to what Simon was talking about earlier, about the fact that we are, Rocket in Ashkol, okay, not here, what Simon was talking about before, about how we are fighting here your battle. And, I always feel bad for American Jews, because when they come here, and they're coming now during the war, and they want to tap into that special spirit here, we're blessed with feeling Knesset Yisrael, feeling one, the unity of the Jewish people in Israel. And in America, it's hard to tap into that thing. And whatever a person does, even when they give a large donation, it's not the same as the sacrifice of a Hesder boy who's on the front over here in Sderot. But there is one thing that I always tell people, that American Jew can be sacrificed. It's like lying down on the floor during a Sderot attack, and that's to be honored at a dinner.
That's how
That's
drastic it is.
the modern korban of our time, is to be honored at a dinner. People see you, they will cross the street, they walk the other way. I know people think that people get honored. It's a big pleasure. It's not a pleasure. To identify with the organization, have people point at you and say, "Oh, this, that." It's really difficult.
When I see some soldiers today, can I point this out to them?
Yes,
People who
but
are honorees
you have to understand that when they do go through all of that, l'shem shamayim, for the organization, and I said this to honorees of every, when we were at the Beit Orot dinner together, I went over to every honoree and I told them this, that the only thing an American Jew that equals the sacrifice of Jews in Israel is to agree to be honored at a dinner. That is the ultimate sacrifice in America that you can have, and that's a really important thing.
I better move to Israel quick.
We're going to be having a big dinner right after Sukkot. It's going to be in the middle of November. We don't have the details yet. We're going to have a big dinner, and we're aiming that we want to have 1,000 people come out after all of this, to come out and
What did we have
identify.
last year?
We had last year 500 people. We want to double it for this year, and this is very important, and this is our goal right now. I also want to thank one person whose name I'm not going to mention, but on my recent trip, someone agreed to help us very substantially towards with the building, the dormitory that we're trying to build.
Thank you.
It's not enough. A lot of people have taken upon themselves dormitory units, and I want to thank all of them as well. But this is a really important thing. But I want to finish off with one thing. Rabbi, when you asked Rabbi Fendel what's most important, he told you Torah is the most important thing. I want you to think, for example, let's forget all the rockets and forget all the buildings, beautiful buildings you see on this campus. Let's think about the individual kid who comes here from Dimona, who comes here from Yerucham, who comes here from Netivot, and comes here with his family having Torah ripped from him in the 1950s when the Sephardic Jews were subjected to this terrible, terrible attempt to re-educate them. And these kids grew up in houses where maybe the father would go to shul, but they'd do something else afterwards. And then when we take these kids from all over the Negev, and we bring them to the yeshiva, we turn them to leaders, we turn them to soldiers, we turn them to Talmidei Chachamim. It's basically saving the future of the Jewish people, because that's the majority of this country. The Sephardic traditional people in this country are the majority of the people, and they're the future of the people. And when we save those people, then what we're doing is we're saving the entire country. And this is an important thing. Those people who don't have so much money, who can't give so much money for big buildings or things like that, tuition, we have scholarship to have these people who their parents don't want them to learn in yeshiva, they can't afford to send them to yeshiva, and this is something very important. When you can hook up to that Torah revolution in the Negev by helping these people, in my opinion, more important than all the rockets and all the buildings and all the other things, the Torah that is learned by these kids is the most important thing possible.
Kol hakavod. I thank you, Yossi Baumel. Thank you for welcoming us.
Shabbat Shalom, and one thing, Dvar Torah Katzar, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, why does it say twice? One of the explanations is that the consolation, the Nechama comes in stages. It doesn't happen all in one shot. So we're going through a difficult time now. In last week's Parsha, Medrash Tanchuma, Hashem asked David HaMelech, how come you don't finish them all in one shot? Why don't you finish them all in one shot? Why do you do it kim'ah, slowly? Hashem says, if you're not going to do it, I'll take care of it. So I just want to say, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, the consolation is coming slowly. It's the work of many people. We are Hashem's hands on this world, and we're going to get the job done. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you. We're here in Sderot. We're getting ready for the big celebration, Achnasa Sefer Torah, just minutes from now at the Ethiopian Synagogue. Again, I thank everybody who's been participating with us and the team of Simon and Dr. Joe who made this happen. We're finally here after all these months of planning and talking about it, and we're going to be celebrating together within minutes right here in Sderot. A big thank you to Miriam L. Wallach for producing yet another amazing JM Nahum show in our entire week that has been so far, well, our wraparound week, I call it, from Thursday to Tuesday here in Israel, which so far has been amazing. And I thank Miriam for that, and I thank PC Guy for leading our engineering team, a very large team that has come to join us. No, in all seriousness, it's a smaller team than usual, but I thank him for all his efforts. It's been amazing and much appreciated. A big thank you to Stan back in our studio. A big thank you to the Inbal Hotel, which we are highly recommending to all the tourists and all the people who are coming to Jerusalem. They, again, have extended their hand of hospitality to us, with open arms, I should say. And we'll talk more about them on Monday. I think we're going to be doing something extra special with them on Monday, in fact, from Jerusalem. So a big thank you to the entire staff and those who made the Inbal Hotel possible for us. And that means that I have to thank our very own Mayor Weingarten, who always helps with these trips in advance and has been especially helpful, even more so than usual this time around. And I thank him for that from all of us here at the big journey to Israel. Don't forget that Monday we're in Jerusalem, and then Tuesday it's Nefesh B'Nefesh in a unique radio broadcast, something that never gets old. We may have done it last year, but I guarantee you this year is going to be a lot different. And that is being at the plane in the old terminal, actually, of Ben Gurion Airport when hundreds of Olim arrive on Tuesday morning. It's extra special that we get to be there and speak to these Olim and have this connection with Nefesh B'Nefesh, and we are looking forward to an amazing and incredible show Tuesday morning from the airport right here at JM in the AM. Candlelighting on this Erev Shabbos Nachamu. Erev Shabbos Parshas V'Eschanan is 7:43 candlelighting time. We get set to celebrate in Sderot and wish everybody a wonderful Shabbos from all of us at JM in the AM.
The sun is going down, it's shining through the trees. Another week's gone by, become a memory. So throw away your hammer, there's nothing left to do. Go on home and find the gift that's waiting there for you. Oh, it's time to say good Shabbos, 'cause all your work is done. Gonna spend a day together with the Holy One. Say a special blessing on a cup that's filled with wine. Man and his creator, it's a very special sign. Your candles will be burning, they'll fill your home with light, singing songs of Shabbos well into the night. So throw away your hammer, there's nothing left to do. Go on home and find the gift that's waiting there for you. Oh, it's time to say good Shabbos, 'cause all your work is done. Gonna spend the day together with the Holy One. Say a special blessing on a cup that's filled with wine. Man and his creator, it's a very special sign. You can spend time with your family, you'll study and you'll pray. Why not wait till after Shabbos? Oh, those nails won't run away. So throw away your hammer, there's nothing left to do. Go on home and find the gift that's waiting there for you. Oh, it's time to say good Shabbos, 'cause all your work is done. Gonna spend the day together with the Holy One. Say a special blessing on a cup that's filled with wine. Man and his creator, it's a very, 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 very special
Acheinu b'Yisrael and Achim Achem, our brothers and sisters in Israel. We are with you. It's your favorite America's one and only Jewish Moments in the Morning radio program. Heard on listeners sponsored WFMU East Orange, WMFU Mount Hope. Rockland County at 91.9 on the FM dial and around the world on the web, jmandtheam.org. And that wraps up an amazing day for us here in Sderot. Actually, an amazing show. The amazing day will continue as we celebrate the Achnasas Sefer Torah that we've been talking about all this time. A big thank you again to Simon and Dr. Joe and everybody who participated with us today in this very special program. A big thank you to everybody here in Sderot. And don't forget Monday from Yerushalayim, Monday morning. Make sure to be tuned in starting at 6 a.m. We're going to be doing the show from Yerushalayim earlier in the day on Monday. Make sure to join us and be tuned in. All the photos, go to the Nachum Segal Network Facebook update page, Nachum Segal Network Facebook update page, and you'll be updated on everything that we're doing in Israel and see some of the amazing things that we've been able to experience while we are here. Have a wonderful Shabbos, great weekend. Enjoy Nachum.